think we should get away from the raping and focus all on the pillaging for Viking Day.
Yes, Viking Day.
Just pillaging.
Indigenous People Day.
Hashtag me too.
Welcome back to Comment. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah,
Oh, we're just coming
No,
back.
this is the rejoin music that we hear that
You're
no
good.
one can
Nobody
ever
else
hear on the
hears.
episode. This is never on the episode, and then you guys mock me for saying shit about it. It's because every time I listen to it, I'm like, I've never heard this music before.
Oh, okay.
Nobody even knows what I'm talking about right now.
All they hear is silence.
And it's the hallmark of great radio. when nobody knows what you're talking about.
Welcome to Texas Brewing, where the sounds are all made up and the points don't matter.
Perfect.
Which one do you want, dude?
Okay,
that's
so-
the Javaro.
So welcome back, and we got some stuff to continue. Or do we want to continue with the
Patreon.
With the
Patreon?
what?
Are we gonna do the Patreon thing first?
Yeah.
What are we gonna do? I don't even know.
Oh,
what
I
the
guess
hell
we
we're
should
gonna
have talked
Yeah.
about this, huh?
Probably
Yeah.
should have did
I thought we had.
Welcome
long
back.
break there.
You know.
We had a
Welcome
great
back.
first segment.
Yeah, we
talking
did.
about kombucha. I think we learned a lot.
Man,
and hopefully
I
you
thought
guys
that
did
was
too.
really excellent.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about it, and I'm absolutely sold on their kombucha. I'm going to buy it.
And we can't wait to find out how everybody poops tonight.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate that a lot.
It's gravity
Thanks for
feed.
Cedric.
Sitting
Yeah.
down.
I can feel it.
It's gravity feed, but that happens after every podcast anyway. So
I'm
there's-
gonna shit like a goose.
Lucky it wasn't tacos.
But
Yeah, that's
speaking
right.
of the whole kombucha thing and saying thanks to Cedric, our listen in and win key phrase for this week, which we're still doing a $20 gift certificate for the website.
Sure.
Boochmaster C.
Oh, I like that.
Spell that.
Boochmaster C.
That
He's
must have
the
took a whole
Boochmaster
week.
C back in the house over here. It's
Spell
Thank
it.
you. Yo, yo, yo.
Spell it.
Booch Master C.
Careful, they killed Mixmaster J. They killed him.
I'm invincible.
Shouldn't
To
it be
a point.
BUCH?
That's Buch.
Well, I've seen how he wrote Booch Brothers and Sisters, and it's
Yeah.
BOOCH.
Yeah.
So that's the way
We
I'm
kind of
using
got to
it.
follow Cedric's lead on
It's-
this one, I think.
It's Booch because it's artisan, so you got to change it a little bit so it matches the profile.
Booch, because Greg wrote it that way.
I'll be booching.
Exactly.
Booch.
And hey, welcome back, Nigel.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah,
Mine
Nigel's in a
would
seat.
be Pooch Master C.
Yes, it would.
Booch it up, son.
It's been quite a while since me and Nigel have been on the podcast together. Remember that last time?
No, I was drunk.
It's become more dangerous since the last time you were here. I can guarantee you that.
Yes.
The threat of violence looms large at all times.
When Nigel's here.
It has been testy lately.
Especially since we're going to talk about a subject that's going to infuriate him.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It has done all day.
Yeah.
You
so
are a traditionalist, aren't you?
I
I
am.
guarantee you it's going to end up to be my fault at some point.
You're gonna get a shoe.
I'm not sure I can blame you on this one, Brandon.
Okay,
Well,
good,
let's
good.
just
That
go
bodes
directly
well.
You
into
might
that.
you might just
Okay.
be the
Yeah.
scapegoat, but
Let's
I
just
can't blame you for it.
Let's just go directly into that. So, tell us the maddening news, Nigel, on your side of the pond.
Well, I woke up this morning and scanned various news agencies and social media sites, and I found out that Fuller's Brewery in London has been bought out by I always pronounce this wrong. Somebody digging for
Sapporo.
Asahi.
Asahi. That's
Asahi.
it. Yeah, Asahi.
I thought it was Sapporo.
No,
No,
it's
it's
Asahi.
Sorry. All right. whatever.
And so
It's
you
the
know,
Ninja Brewery.
it's something we've seen over here with
Close.
lots of buyouts into the
Close.
big conglomerates and stuff, but we see it every now and then over there. But this is one of the giants, and
Yeah,
and
every
It's
now
the
and then,
last
but
of
this
the
is
giants.
the
yeah, pretty much. I mean, Wells and Young joined forces, and
It's like I think Fuller's was the last big independent left in England, if I'm not mistaken.
probably so. I haven't done that much research on it to be sure, because I had a job to do today. But
So it's kind of a different buyout in this one in that they basically licensed the name to them. They gave them a perpetual license of the Fuller's name,
right,
and they are going to retain the brew pub business
they're retaining
or the pub business.
they're
Not brew
retaining
pub, but
the
pub.
Yeah,
right?
they're retaining the pub and the hotel business. That's where 87% of the profits are.
yeah.
So the brewery side of it is what they're selling off, as well as the name.
I think that's interesting because I don't know, does the pub and the hotel side of it have the same marketing value? Does it have the same brand strength if they're not English owned? And if it's not English brewed, I don't know if it's going to continue to be English brewed or not. But, I think one carries into the other. I don't know that you can be as successful with the one without.
Well, they are saying they're going to continue brewing at the facility and whatnot. Now,
nothing's going to change. They're just going to have a bigger wallet to work with, and
like all the other stores.
Right.
I have never heard that before. I mean, I believe in small business, and it always works when small business has large pockets. Right, Stubby.
That's right. Works so much better that way.
Will they still get the same hops? If somebody's essentially, if I was to take a name like Bud Light and just sell it everywhere, even though it's not the same, would you still take pride in that same product?
That's exactly my point.
Change in order for you to massive quantity it.
Yeah, the brand isn't a brand just because it's been around a long time.
It's because
there's something
pride
behind the brand that
London pride.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
nice
so
snack for the beer.
Well, and to me, I guess I haven't been too upset about all these buyouts and stuff before because I didn't really care about some of the breweries that were being bought out. But that is one of my top favorite breweries, and I was a little disheartened.
Yeah, there's one every now and then that really gets you. Like Lagunitas, I wasn't real happy about, and this is one. That
I'm not sure of a comparative brewery over here, or if there is one, because of the size of the country plays into it.
Well, Rolling Rock, I mean.
Wow, yeah. I mean, that was devastation. That was.
But it's like
when Lone Star left Texas. Yeah.
But it's like 170 years old, right, or something like that.
Yeah, it really is. So there's a quote here from one of the journalists in the Evening Standard, which is the London evening paper, which I thought sums it up. It says, "But although the deal makes sense for short-term financiers, we must mourn the passing of the last great London-owned brewed and bred beer. Even if they get the flavor right, Tokyo Pride just doesn't have the same ring to it."
Exactly. That's exactly my point. Is the brand is not just a label. Right. There's something behind it that people are into, and I just think it loses its value when it doesn't have
it's
that.
It's a pride.
Yeah.
London pride.
That's right.
But is that the same pride that we have in like Pabst Blue Ribbon that transitioned over?
I don't think there's an equivalent. I think
Nigel's
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
more
of
history,
and again, the size of the UK, it plays into that. I mean, but it's a national beer brand.
Maybe the closest thing would be when Anheuser-Busch sold to InBev.
Maybe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
When an iconic American brewery became foreign owned.
Yeah. That may be the case. But it's a sad day for that side of things. Now, of course, like you say, there's still going to be the beer. And who knows, it may open more doors. I mean, there's more brands that may be able to come in. Pilsner Urquell is owned by Asahi. I don't know if that beer has changed over the years, so maybe there's some hope that the English beers won't.
Maybe they'll get some more distribution and maybe fresher beer.
Yeah, plus they've got High Point Brewery under that umbrella as well, so maybe we get more English beer over here as well.
Yeah.
So there may be some positives out of it.
One thing
let's drink their.
Yeah,
there you go.
Let's pop a couple here in honor of it.
Since they're in honor, we're going to drink some of the Fuller's ESB, which is pretty good, a little beer.
So
the
question I have with that is the part where they say that most of their business is going to the pubs and the hotels. What are they brewing? What's the difference between okay, maybe it's not coming in bottles and whatnot, but okay, it's going to the pubs probably and
in casks.
Yeah. Or is it the cask side of it? I don't know what the hotel version would be. I would assume that'd be packaged. But what is this going? What's the difference between the two if they're going to continue brewing small scale for pubs and hotels? What's the difference between what's being packaged by, the Asahi
They're
version
making their margin at the retail level. So it doesn't matter if they're having to buy that beer from Asahi or if they're buying it from themselves, basically. They're
more along the lines of like Revolver and how they kind of got bought out, but they kept the same people. They're like, you do your operation. What we're gonna do is
I think that it's more the parallel we can draw here is the difference between taproom sales and packaged beer in the stores,
That they get to
where
keep
they
that.
make a lot more margin on taproom sales than they do packaged beer for a
They're
lot
not
of
really
for a lot
probably-
of different reasons.
They're
but-
not really drawing a division between where the beer is being brewed and what's being produced. They're just saying we're keeping these sales. I mean,
right, and I'm sure the hotels aren't reliant on
Right.
the
so,
beer name at all.
So
I
the
would think,
the
yeah.
87% profit that they're making money from the pubs and the hotels is what they're being paid by the leaseholders to lease the pubs, what they're making off of the beer brands, what they're making off food, what they're making off people staying in hotels. Not so much the selling of their beer within that place.
The bottle that's sitting on the shelf.
Right.
Yeah, that's what they're giving up is the
Yeah,
bottle
they're-
that's sitting on the
Yeah.
shelf.
From what I understand, they're giving up all forms of the liquid.
they're keeping the more
They're
live
they're
version.
they're keeping the brick and mortar.
They're a service industry now
Yeah.
instead of a product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a pub owner and a hotel owner, and that's about it.
Which makes it
Okay.
a lot easier on them because they don't have to worry about distribution and
Yeah.
stuff like
Right.
that. Stuff,
Packaging,
exactly.
Yeah.
Stuff that
transportation, yeah.
if we didn't have to worry about it would be make life great. If
Right.
you didn't have to worry about sending grain halfway across the country, you reduce that expense and you have somebody else take care of it. That takes a load off your shoulders so you can grow.
Yeah.
Now it's been family owned for forever. I mean, you say it was family owned until this morning. 174 years old. I don't know what the continuation plan was. I don't know if there was any of the family to take it on moving forward. I don't know if it had reached a point that there was nobody willing to take it on as a concern or anything like that. Not that they were in financial issues, but it may have just been time.
The
you
line
know?
of secession and
Yeah, it may have just been time.
like
so.
the queen.
Well, and here's one of the things. So we're drinking this beer, and I think this beer has changed over the years.
Oh, I'm sure it has.
I
mean,
think it used to be a lot darker beer.
I say a
than
lot
what
of
it is
lot of
now.
English beers have been amended over the years to become more mainstream.
Yeah, I think a lot of these beers are starting to become that way. Lightening the caramel, lightening. I mean, I think all beers are really going lighter. I mean, that's even in Germany. They don't do the normal. They don't do the normal Märzen anymore. Or
fest beer,
Oktoberfest. It's a
yeah.
fest beer now, which is
Yeah.
light colored and easier to drink. So, and we've noticed that since we've gone to the pro side too, that people just don't use caramel malt much anymore, to be real honest. And so we.
Well, I think it was overused in the past anyway, so I kind of like that
Yeah.
trend.
So, anyway, we've got the Mockingbird ESB that I did, and I actually lightened the caramel up on this, and this won a Stein, I think, in 2011, and I reduced the caramel 20% in it, and I think it's still pretty caramely.
Yeah.
So
It's pretty caramely, yeah.
yeah. So I don't know if it if it just happens to be I screwed something up or the water chemistry.
We talked about
or-
it before the show. My opinion is that the bitterness is just lower. I've brewed this before and drank it, and I think the bitterness is just a little bit low. And I would attribute it to you brewing on a different system than you brewed on before.
Yeah, that may be the case. That may be the case. I brewed it on a Grandfather, and I've never done it that way before. So, but it's still a great beer, and I'd like to try it some more. To be honest with you, I think it's a good recipe. I just I don't know what happened there. Well, I changed the Maris Otter out and actually used the extra pale Maris Otter, so that should have even been lighter because it's I think the extra pale Maris Otter is 1.8, so it's more like a Pilsner malt.
Well, maybe because it's lighter, the caramel cut through the base malt a bit more.
Yeah, that could be.
Maybe.
And the lighter tasting
Hmm.
base.
Maybe. Interesting. Didn't even consider that.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway, but fun stuff. Sad day
Yep.
Yep.
in London. God save the Queen.
And London Pride.
We mean it, man.
This time, we really mean it. Take us
Okay,
back.
so if we want, we can.
She ain't no human being.
I've got my Javaru Saison here with the Lithuanian farmhouse yeast. If we want to pass that around too, this is my
good.
house Saison recipe. I'm really happy with it.
I'm sure half of the audience out there didn't get any of those references at all.
What are you talking about?
Sex Pistols.
Oh yeah, no, you're right about that. Yeah. Leave it to us to make a bunch of dated references that nobody's going to get, and then laugh our asses off about it.
I
Thank
did.
you,
I
'cause
did see
was
the
feeling
Who.
Weird.
I did see
was
the
like,
Who are coming back to town.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in
Rockers with walkers.
April or May, I think.
Yeah, now they're called the Who because they can't hear a damn thing you say.
Is that who? What?
The Who?
Now
What?
introducing the band The Who. Who? The Who.
The Guess Who? That's a whole different band.
Yes, it is.
So this is Eric's.
What
Here,
kind of
here you
podcast
can-
is this?
It's a dated reference podcast. Yeah, I'm trying to hand you.
We're
your
really
beer,
good
so-
at it.
It's a bunch of dads and that one young dude.
Yeah, so this is my house saison recipe. It's a spelt saison, and this is with the Javaro yeast. I wanted to give it the old treatment, so I just pitched a pack straight into it. No starter, no nothing.
This is completely different than the other ones we had.
Is it okay? In what way?
This is much more spicy.
It's really spicy, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
very peppery and phenolic, and I really like that about it. It's also got a bit of a citrus note to it that I
Yeah,
like.
I think so.
I still get the lemon pith and black pepper
yeah,
too.
yeah,
so.
but it's more phenols, I think, in this one than the other samples we had. So.
Which I really like that about it, because I think the only other one out there that really has a good, strong phenol profile to it is the DuPont strain. The, what is it, 3924?
I don't remember.
Which is notoriously
Belgian
difficult to
Saison.
work with, the Belgian Saison yeast. And so this one's super easy to work with, and you still get that good peppery
Yeah,
phenolic.
I don't get the same like texture, I guess you would say, that I got from James or your beer. It's just
Well, spelt
like,
too.
yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe the
Well-
spelt actually added some of the phenols.
Well, I think what I've found with the spelt is that it gives it a nice, dry, crisp edge to it. So I switch out the wheat for spelt, and I think it really dries out and makes
What
it
was
crisp.
your mash? How did you mash it?
I mash low for this. I mash at like 148.
Okay.
We talked about it ad nauseum. The saisons need to be dry.
Right.
They've really. This is only 1008 actually, and I feel like it tastes drier than that. I think the phenols help. I think the spelt helps.
So do you think I'm getting bitterness from the hops, or do you think it's from the phenols?
I think it's the hops.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. It's fairly assertive on the hops for a saison, but the thing about most saisons is that the yeasts give off an ester profile that gives you a perception of sweetness, and so I think you've got to make sure that you hop it right, or else it'll taste sweet even if it's a real dry beer.
All right.
So I hop it a little, and actually I don't think I would change the hops on this when I brewed it again. I like it like it is.
Yeah, I wish you would have been there for the episode for you guys
Yeah,
listening.
me
that
too.
Didn't listen to it. Go back. Was it the last episode?
No,
Or was
it's
it the time
the
before?
next
It
one.
was the one before the last.
Which
episode,
one?
I
The
think.
Javaro?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Javaro.
That's going to be the next one to come out.
Next one
Well,
to come
I
out.
know, but
Okay.
it was the one before this, or 2 times before this.
It was 131.
We've done one since then.
Two
Yeah.
times before.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So go back and listen to that.
times.
He brought his in because he wasn't there for that episode, but it was a really great episode. I thought it was pretty mind blowing and really interesting. We had the guys from Omega on to talk about it too. So
That was the Kvike.
that was Kvike, okay,
Yeah.
but we didn't have him on for the
No.
Javaro. Okay, that's
Right.
We
No,
just
that was
tried
when
ours.
James was in.
Yeah.
yeah. James was
Yeah.
in for both of them. So
Oh, that's right. He was in for both, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. So anyway, moving.
So I would really highly recommend trying this one if that the peppery phenolic side of it is something that you're looking for in a saison yeast. I think this one does a better job of any of them of that than any of them I've tried. So
I'll definitely take a look at that spelt malt because
I love the spell. I
I'm-
swear by it.
I'm
Yeah.
looking for some. I definitely replaced it once or twice in a wheat beer just to see what it would do, and it turned out quite well. So I'll work on that a little bit more and see what I come up with.
I'm a big believer in it. Matt Westlake turned me onto it, and I use it in all my saisons.
think me-
Is
you
that
were
the
talking
only
about
thing he
it.
turned you on?
Matt
Yes,
Westlake
that is-
turned you
I
on a
want to make
lot,
that
right.
very clear. That's the only thing he turned me on to.
For now,
He tells a different story.
He tells a lot of stories. That's why I want to make it very clear.
So anyway, we ready for the Gose stuff?
Sure.
All right. So I think you guys heard me talk a little bit about it when we went to Germany. I actually brought back some Goses for these guys to try. And if you wanna roll some the beautiful bean footage. Quick video. I don't know if you know what? I don't think you can hear the sound on this, can you? I think
You'll just have to dub it.
anyway.
Hey guys, here we are in Leipzig, Germany. We're here at the famous Bahnhof Brauerei here. We're gonna go drink some Gose.
Bayerisch Bahnhof Brauerei.
That is an awesome looking
It is absolutely beautiful. So a little bit about the Gose is it's originally from Goslar.
Like Mark Paul Goslar?
It's numbnuts in there.
I thought it was a Pied Piper.
But anyway, it was originally from the Goslar area, but Leipzig actually adopted the style. And so this is if you guys are watching live or you come back and look at the video, the brewery is absolutely breathtaking. It's really pretty. You can see this is a picture of Gose, and that's the glasses that they serve it in. As you can see, it's really turbid. It's really cloudy. And they serve it in half liters. So I mean, it's a very refreshing drink.
Hey guys, here we are at the Bayerisch Bahnhof in Leipzig, Germany. We're drinking a few Goses, so I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the differences in what we find here in Germany and then what we find in the typical Goses in the United States. The difference being is, as you can see, it's a really light drink, but the one thing noticeable that you taste in the difference is definitely the flavor. Is a lot less acidity than what you're going to find in typical craft beer-made Goses. Also, you'll notice a lot less saltiness than what you're going to find in a Gose
The limit
in the
of my
US.
retention is
So it's a really nice, easy to drink, refreshing beer that you can drink a lot of it, frankly. So maybe a little less tart than what you would find in a lemonade. So anyway, if you ever have a chance, check it out. It's here in Leipzig, Germany. Cheers. Prost.
Pitch a bag of green, and they let it go for, I think he said something like so 100 plus degrees, and leave it for 18 hours.
50 Celsius is like 150, isn't it?
Is it?
150, 160, something like that. Yeah.
Come on, Nigel, you should know.
And
Hang on.
I'm shooting from the hip here.
Yeah.
But they leave it for 18 to 24 hours, and they pull off the lactic acid and blend it back with a beer.
Okay.
122.
122. Yeah, so that'd be about right. So anyway, what they do with that, the reason they do it that way is because you get a consistent lactic flavor, right? So one of the things that you'll notice about when you're drinking these beers over there, one of the things that I was shocked at, I don't think I've ever had a Gose here in the United States that I could sit there and pound half liters.
Yeah.
There's just none of them that are that refreshing or that great. And the best way I can say it is that, and maybe, hopefully these are good. I don't know if they're probably not going to be as good as what we had at the brewery, but they're probably less tart than a lemonade, I would say. Not as acidic as lemonade. So it's very, very refreshing, easy to drink. Of course, they use coriander and also salt.
And so on the coriander note here, that's one of the things I want to address when you look at the guidelines. Characteristic ingredients. It says Pilsner and wheat malt, restrained use of salt and coriander seed and lactobacillus. Said the coriander should have a fresh citrusy lemon bright note and not be vegetal, celery-like, or ham-like. And that celery and ham thing is something that pops up in the guidelines now and then. The ham thing was in the wit beer guidelines for a long time. And it always strikes people as weird that, the beer shouldn't taste like ham. Oh, tell me something I don't know. But that's a characteristic of coriander, and it's not only the type of coriander but the amount that's used. In that you want to use, it has to be restrained in there. If you use too much, that's when you get those flavors.
Right. So one of the cool things about it, I think a lot of people are confused by the Reinheitsgebot, right? So originally that was part of Bavaria, or that was a Bavarian thing. But when they become a unified Germany, it was part of the whole country. But so they actually have an exemption and allowed them to put the coriander and salt in it. So there you go.
Way to bend the rules.
Right. So this little place in Germany, in Leipzig, they kind of revived the style. It's the old train station that they've kind of revived and redone. If you saw the pictures of it, it's absolutely gorgeous. And these guys revived the style. They're kind of the ones that brought it back from the grave. So.
Yeah, so in the guidelines it says that Leipzig was said to have 80 Gose houses in 1900. Mm-hmm. Production declined significantly after World War II and ceased entirely in 1966. So modern production was revived in 1980s, but it's still not widely available. So this is one of very few places that produces the beer.
And honestly, I think there was maybe one other one in Leipzig that's even still making it.
So we've got a whole shit ton more breweries in America making Gose
than
in Germany.
And for sure.
I mean, it's one of those things that kind of swept the U.S., like brewed IPAs, the IPAs where they just started getting cloudy. And Gose's was one of those styles where people that weren't used to craft beer kind of used that as a bridge to the gap. I mean, that and Shanny's really took off.
And they're all over the place. I mean,
yeah.
And what we've got a couple of them here.
Right.
We've got the Distill Wild Sour. They've got a couple of different Goses that are on the furthest end of the spectrum of any Gose you'll ever taste. They are ultra uber sour. And then you back it off to like the Anderson Valley. The Anderson Valley that we've got here is much more of a drinkable, refreshing beer.
So they also treat it at the place in Leipzig. They actually treat it like a Berliner Weiss. So a lot of the guys add syrup to it, like the
fruit syrups.
Yeah, the fruit syrups that you can add back to it as well. So it's kind of that way. But I'm telling you, man, I drank a whole liter of it. And I could have drank more, but we had to leave. So
let's crack it open, man.
All right, so let's start with the bottles. I brought one of their traditional bottles back. They're very expensive, but we got just the regular one. You may see these around. They say that 90% of their production is drank on site, but they do export a lot. I think I've got one that I've got at Specs, or not Specs, at Halls. So we might pop it open and see if it tastes any different than the ones I brought back. So, anyway, but I think this is a really great introspective of what the style is supposed to taste like. And it makes me wonder if any of these guys that made any of these Goses actually know what a real one, or the one from Germany, tastes like.
Yeah, and we talked about it a couple episodes ago when we were talking about English breweries, or excuse me, American breweries trying to brew English beers and how they just don't get it right. And it's a matter of you can't just read guidelines and know what something is supposed to be like. You really have to taste it from the source to know for sure. And I think this is such a difficult beer to get your hands on that you're right. Probably I bet 99% of the brewers that are brewing it have never tasted what we're about to taste right now.
Oh, it's so good.
And you made an interesting point before we started too, to say that you really treat this like a Weizen beer, where the yeast needs to be in suspension. And the pictures that you showed there, the half liters that you were drinking, really showed that it looks like a Weizen, in that it's nice and cloudy and golden, and it's got a really nice fluffy white head on it.
Yeah, about 50%. I think they say about 50% is wheat, and
Smells like yeast.
the other stuff, So. And you can tell, man, this thing doesn't have a shit ton of salt in it. I guarantee you, there's not another one that we're going to drink tonight that doesn't have this little salt in it.
So this is.
It's almost undetectable.
This is the beer that's listed as a classic example.
Yeah, open another one.
Yes.
Okay, and the Anderson Valley that we've got, is that the standard Gose?
No, it's just a.
Okay, because I could say Anderson Valley is also a classic commercial example.
And when you said you haven't had one that you could drink a lot of, the Anderson Valley is the one that comes to my mind where I can drink a lot.
The most
I really
tame.
love their blood orange one is really excellent.
I almost got that.
Oh yeah, they make really good Gose, but mostly they're flavored. They're not just standard.
Standard,
Yeah.
right?
But could you not
That's
just
what most
drink
Americans
liters of
do.
this, dude?
This is easy. Yeah.
Yeah, this is very balanced compared to Gose's, And because I deal with acidity a lot, like this is something what we call the sweet spot. It's something where your taste buds, when you taste it, you don't get that sour shock in the back of your jaw.
Yeah.
The
That you
front
get
of your
from-
palate. Yeah.
Yes, it hits the savory part of your palate, then your mouth starts watering and it goes back. And
That's a really good way of putting it. And it really the tartness or sourness in and of it, the acidity in and of itself is not a flavor. It's an accent to what's there. It kind of puts
It doesn't hurt your jaws.
right, and it puts a nice sharp edge on what would normally be a really rounded and soft, wheat beer base.
Hey, Eric, would you? There's another one of these that's in the door, that refrigerator in there. Would you bring that one out for us?
Yeah, this one in here.
I
Yeah.
do definitely get the salt.
Yeah, but I don't think.
Yeah,
I think.
I also get the coriander.
Here's what I would say though.
You
the
don't get
salt,
coriander?
No, I get it.
Oh yeah,
a
yeah,
lot,
absolutely.
I would say that the salt actually accentuates the flavor rather than being a dominant flavor.
No, you're right.
And we pound on this constantly when we talk about English beers or German beers. It's all about balance, well balanced.
I don't think there is a dominant flavor in the beer.
But I also think the salt extends the flavor as well. Instead of you're just drinking it and dropping it off, dropping it off your tongue. I think the salt extends it on the tongue and makes the flavor longer in your mouth.
But I do feel like the salt is more prominent than what I expected it to be based on your description. Like, I do get salt in it.
No, I would say that there's salt there. I just wouldn't say that it's like it doesn't.
It's
not
definitely not
drying.
overpowering in any way.
It
and
accentuates the
doesn't-
flavor.
It doesn't step on
it's
anything
not like
else. Yeah.
American Gose styles where
It tastes like they put rock salt in it.
it looks like they read the description was like salt, coriander, perfect. I got a whole bunch of it. Throw it in. Let's go.
It's almost like
Well,
they sat down and thought, what could we do that would make somebody want to keep taking more drinks of our beer? Well, what if there was salt in it?
Like a salted
like
watermelon.
eating
right
pretzels
outside.
or something.
Yeah.
Dehydrate them to make them want more.
'Cause
Well, the
I'll tell you-
American versions seem to separate all the flavors out. They're all
Right.
distinct, but they're all strong too. Yeah.
So this is one I got at Hall's
Man.
down the street. So this is I don't know how good this
I
is.
know it's so good. I don't want to drink.
You just want to
this.
drink more and more of it. It really just.
But
I
just think how
could see
good.
sitting down and just drinking pint after
Yeah,
pint.
just
of
think how good it is at the source.
it. Yeah.
So here's one of the things that I thought was funny. And like I said, I had no idea how old this is. I got that at a local liquor store, and I didn't even know we actually got that in here. But
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
no, it doesn't smell the same.
Completely different label.
Okay, it's a different beer.
I'm surprised at how prominent the coriander is in it, because that's one thing I did not know
Oh, that sucks. That's all.
was a key ingredient to this, because I don't know that American versions have coriander in them.
That's a good point, maybe
And
not.
it's in that respect, it's a lot like a wit beer. It's got
it is kind of like a
a
tart wit
pronounced
beer.
kind of
Yeah.
citrusy herbal.
You can
Tart,
tell that
salty
that
wit
one's
beer.
really
The
old.
salt.
So, is it not a different beer?
No,
It's different. It's different label.
different label. That's export
Whoa.
label.
Okay.
This is the
Did you
stuff I
hear
got
that?
at the brewery.
That's
so.
an American label right there.
All right, so we're gonna crack this open. I think this is pretty neat. If you can see this, this is the traditional Gose bottle, and I learned a little bit about this today. So
Definitely older.
Yeah. All the flavors dropped out.
yeah.
Oh man.
So
Oh, yeah, there's nothing
so
to that.
originally, from what I understood, or at least what my interpretation was, is when they this is the traditional Gose bottle. They would actually go to the brewery before the beer was completely finished fermenting, and they would fill these up for them, and they would take them home, and they would set them in their kitchen or whatever, and that they would ferment in this bottle, and then the Krausen would actually plug up the top, and it would create a natural cork, basically.
It seems kind of nasty.
It's nasty, but
They had about
Originally
50 of those bottles on every table.
originally the Gose was originally like a spontaneously fermented beer. So,
Hey yo,
yeah. So anyway,
fermentation.
yeah. So, but I thought it was kind of neat. So we're gonna open this dude. Hopefully it's as good as the other ones were.
It's
How long has it been sitting in your kitchen?
Let's see. It's been in the refrigerator since I got back from Germany, and that was when did I go?
November, right?
November. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Watch your head.
Whoa.
Smoke.
Oh! That's
Nice.
a bottle fermentation right there.
Greg.
Right there.
Look at
Did you get a SCOBY in your Gose? Oh.
It's
Done-
a little
that.
chunky.
Done with that cup. Yeah. I thought, I'll rouse the yeast at the bottom of that bottle.
It's all the flavor.
It's not yeast. There's
roused.
some scabs in the bottom of
Oh
it.
my gosh! Look at
Some
that.
zombies. It's dead.
There's none left.
Oh.
At least they'll make a nice.
All over the iPad.
Yeah. Oh, iPad can live.
32 euros down.
So
the
for you
drain.
guys, I think it was like 24.
I don't know the conversion rate, but that's
Now, which one?
a
did-
lot.
It's
which
like
one
one
did
to
I just
one.
fill up? Was it this one?
Ugh.
Now, yeah.
I'm guessing it was that one.
Is that duty free?
Just get another cup, Stubby.
This one's not duty free. It's full of duty.
It is. It's duty all over it.
Y'all go ahead. Save me a little splash at the end though. 'Cause I
Did
don't
you
know which
not
one
get
it is.
enough?
I don't know which. I don't know which one it was. I'm really confused now. But really unique bottle. It's got probably about I don't know.
Mead.
That's probably like a 20-inch neck on there. You know.
What'd you do with the tissue, the kitchen paper?
Oh, there you go.
The kitchen paper.
Well, what do you want me to call it?
A paper towel. You English son of a bitch.
And where do you use the paper towel?
The proper paper
All over the
towel.
place. Are we in a kitchen right now?
Yeah.
There is a ton of drinks here. It's like a
So-
dining room.
So I know this isn't very good listening, but it really should be a testament to how good the beer is, as we're kind of speechless while we're enjoying
Just
it.
like licking it. Oh,
It's
yeah,
as good as the
yeah.
first one.
Yeah, it is. Well, and the neat thing about it is, I mean, that's the beauty of what we're able to do here.
Is it a bit more sulfury on the nose?
Yeah, it is.
It's probably because I just splashed it all on my balls.
Great.
Not the
All right.
room. Not the room.
Oda Stubby.
Way to ruin it.
Yeah, you should have seen what we were
Is
doing
that why
with
it's so
this
salty
after
too?
the fact.
That'll be his next Christmas hit, Sulfur Balls.
I'm just saying, it took a while for both times. We lasted a while this episode.
Actually, we're doing pretty good. You're
yeah,
right.
it was
We'll
crazy.
pat ourselves on the back for that one.
And then Teresa just rips off on it. I'm like, no.
Yeah, she went full poop
Yeah,
on that
yeah.
one. Yeah,
She
like
waited for Stubby to leave. It just
yeah,
fully
you missed
ripped
it.
off
She
on
went like
Yeah.
we were talking about poop. Now, I mean,
Wow. No,
Gut
so,
clean.
so this is one of the. I drove 3 hours out of the way just to go to this place.
To spit it on your balls.
No, I just I can't.
There goes the mic.
He'll drive 3 hour anywhere.
I bet when
This
you
is
were
just
sitting there
spit
at the
on-
brewery drinking several of these, you thought this was worth every minute of that.
Oh, I
drive.
was really upset with myself that I didn't go and stay longer.
Yeah,
Or wasn't able
yeah.
to stay longer.
That's like a trip down to Austin.
Man, I could have drank 10 of those. I'm not kidding you.
Oh, absolutely.
And just but I guess we were coming back from Pilsen, and we had to be in Frankfurt the next morning for an airplane ride. So we were driving, and I said, Chris, I said, I've been to just about every brewing region in Germany where they have their specialty. I said, but I've never been to Leipzig and drink Gose. And I was like, how far is that? He goes, it's 3 hours north. I was like, and how long is it to go from Leipzig to Frankfurt? And he goes, 3 hours. I was like, screw it, let's go.
Oh, so I thought it was an hour and a half out of the way.
No. So basically, we spent an extra 3 hours to go to Leipzig just to drink at this brewery. We had dinner and had a couple drinks and then left. Drove all the way to Frankfurt.
There you go.
I think
But-
it makes it easier since you're Texas that
No, you're right.
You're
right.
like 3 hours.
Hop, skip, and a
Let's
jump.
do this.
Just
Let's-
around the corner.
Yeah,
Right.
It takes you that much time to go anywhere. You're like
And-
traffic, no traffic.
It's like Fort Worth to
And
Richardson.
then I looked at him and I said, Berlin's only an hour away. And he goes, dude, we're going. We're going to Frankfurt.
When I've had Germans in town to work with me, they always they're blown away by how far away everything is in Texas. You know, we can drive 5 hours, just go to another town. You're not even going halfway across the state. That's across the whole country for them.
Oh yeah. Well, and their whole country's the size of Montana.
I mean,
Right,
it was a cold shock for me when I first came over. You know, we live 80 miles north of London, right? You go to London and you're driving. I mean, back in the day, this is, you know, it used to be an overnight stay. Just an 160 mile round trip.
I drive 60 miles to go to my office.
Right, yeah.
Right.
That's changed a bit now with roads getting better and stuff. It takes less time, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But back in the day, it was it was an overnight trip to go to London.
They're still working on 35, so.
Yeah.
Well, after being to UK a couple times, I understand because the traffic sucks, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, because it's so much better around here.
I tell you, man, I tell you, I'm so glad I wasn't driving because the guy that we had a chauffeur that picked us up to take us to the maltster, and man, that is some weird shit, man. When you see people coming around going 100 miles an hour on the opposite side, you know, and you're just like you're on the turn, and it's like. Because you immediately think they're on the wrong side of the road, or you're on the wrong side of the road, or and then that what is it? Is it the right turn is a weird deal. You know, because left turn is your wide
for us
turn.
it's a right turn, yeah.
Yeah, so left turn is wide
You
for us.
cross the traffic, right?
Yeah, it's so weird.
Oh, man. I just thought about that. I was like, what is he talking about? Oh, you got to go in traffic the other way. No.
Yeah, you cross the traffic.
Especially when they're drinking.
Oh, yeah.
So let's get into some of these American Goses and talk about what the differences are.
What's a good one to
and
start with?
I think we
there?
should start with the Anderson Valley. I think we should start with the
least battery acid,
right, and then work our way up to the
full battery
distill.
acid.
Yeah.
So which version of that do we have?
So we've got the
I would say-
Kimmy, the Yink, and the Holy Gose.
What?
I have no
So
idea what that
let's,
means.
What?
Is that not racial slur?
So for those of you that don't know anything about Anderson Valley, they're in a part of
Not for me.
California up in the mountains, and they've got their own little language that they speak in this area of the state. I can't remember what it's called, but I guarantee you that's what this is. It's their little regional dialect.
It ain't Jesus' English. I
Yeah,
can
that's
tell you
true.
that.
I don't know what's in it because it doesn't say. They don't
The purple can.
they don't feel like doing the right thing like Bud Light does.
That's right.
You know?
Hey,
Normally
so-
they do, but not that can.
So I guess it's got purple in it.
So
Purple drink.
I want to harken back to that conversation earlier. I don't know, but I would love to see a Bud Light can in the UK to see if they've got ingredients, because I thought the EU regulations meant that everything had to have the ingredients on. So I wonder if Bud Light already do it over there.
Well,
not
again,
purple.
it's not the ingredients that's the big deal. It's the nutritional.
Right, but I thought that was on there too
no,
in the UK.
I didn't see any of the bottles that I
It might have the
had.
units.
Like I say, I spent a long time. I haven't. Yeah,
Well,
the
they had-
units will be on there
They
for
had
sure.
that weird thing about the pregnancy thing.
Right. That. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, that's not so weird. I mean, that's fact, right?
I think that's
It's just
that's
like,
a standard goes.
I think that's a strong suggestion. I don't know if they got pregnant women drunk
Yeah,
to
you know-
actually prove it.
I thought it was
England
you got,
has this weird thing where they don't want pregnant women to drink alcohol.
Yeah.
I thought that's what
Anyway,
happened to
where's this
women
beer?
when you did drink alcohol.
I guess they're low on freedom over there.
They're low on freedom. Okay, so
Anyway.
we're passing this around here.
That's a standard goes.
So
It's not getting very far.
okay, so one of the things that I think you may have hit on when you're brewing your own, maybe one of the reasons that I really, really like this Leipzig one from Leipzig is it does have a butt ton of coriander in it.
It does, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it really gives it a real citrusy
Right.
note to it.
I think I feel like it's a little bit in this, but like this is still lactic forward for sure.
Is this a
Boy, they can make taco beer.
yeah?
Don't
Taco
even.
beer.
That'd be a
Don't
damn good
even.
taco beer. Sorry, Nigel.
Taco. It's taco.
Taco beer. We have our own dialect. We knows the English around here.
I'd say that
That's good.
God damn, that's sour.
it's sour, but it's nowhere near as sour as what's coming.
Oh my
So,
God! Are you
Compared to the first, no, what's coming after this? Shit.
Wow, yeah.
This one's tame in comparison.
I'm just saying,
I'm with you,
I've
Stevie.
accidentally tasted vinegar before, so this is a sweet relief. I mean, compared to some of the gozes that I've had, where
Really?
you drink it and immediately upset your stomach.
Oof.
Yeah,
True.
which is the last one that we'll probably drink.
I'm not drinking
Ah,
that.
come on.
Sorry.
Do they just take the bottle of
You're gonna be pouring
lactic
lots
acid
on.
and just pour it in?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
your
so-
whole set.
There's sour malt.
Actually, I heard this community. The community one I heard is not as sour, but it's with tangerine and apricot. So
Is that silly goes?
yeah,
Silly Gose.
Silly goose.
You bum looker.
yeah. So I ran into an interesting thing at
Looking
the
at me,
store
Bone.
today. I was like, he goes, "Oh, sir, can I help you find some beer?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm looking for Gozes." And he goes, "Oh yeah, we got this old style Belgian one. See?" And it was a goose. I'm like, no, a goose is different than a goose.
Oh, yes.
You didn't say
So
that's different. Stupid. That's
Nerd.
That's usually what I do to people at stores. I scream stupid at them. No, this Anderson Valley is interesting. I've had this one a bunch of times. It's one of them I've always really liked a lot, and I thought is easy drinking. And then after drinking this one from Leipzig, and I drink this, it's super acidic.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never thought it was that acidic before until I drank it next to and it's missing the
The and the
like-
salt are pretty
the,
tame
like,
in this.
Weizen
Yeah, if
sort
there's
of
any-
body to it,
Yeah.
which there again, I didn't ever realize that was part of the style, was that Weizen kind of
Yeah, you gotta have that,
mouthfeel
like
and
the turbidity is.
yeah,
I
the
swear.
turbidity, yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, like when I was drinking them there, that was actually one of the things. It was even more so on tap. That fresh, almost fresh Heffy.
It looked like it in the picture,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it was just like a Hefeweizen, and man, it was just like big bodied and fluffy in your mouth, and you know.
And
it
that's
just
what
had a
that
great-
first one tasted like when you poured it out the bottle. It was everything you thought
yeah.
Yeah.
a style could be and more. And then you taste some of the American styles and you're like, oh, okay. I see where they missed the mark.
This one's
Crack another
not too
10.
bad, I don't think.
See, they've got tangerine and apricot in this one.
So it
you need one?
tames it out a
Crack
little
another one. I don't know if there's
Crack a
there-
tin.
There
Yeah.
might be enough.
That one's actually
bit. Yeah.
much more tame
There's a-
acidity wise.
Yeah, so this is one of our local guys here. It's a community.
And
Brewery
leave it to
company.
him to be a little. Of anybody, I would count on him to be more accurate to the
Yeah.
actual style than. I'm a huge fan of Community and Jamie.
I got his phone number if you want it.
Well, he's asked for seconds of my beer on more than one occasion, so
Oh.
we kind of have a thing,
He doesn't need the phone number. He needs the door combination.
Actually, once
Right?
Like when I was looking in his window,
No, he has
I
a
could
key
tell he was
already.
thinking about me. So
Wow.
we're like, we're pretty tight.
It was more
So-
to the chastity
Shout out
belt.
to Clay Aiken for that.
To me, this has something that
One is more tight.
something doesn't
you were
sit right with
invisible.
this beer, but I don't know. It's because we just had the other beer that was much more acidic.
Right.
I
And
think
like, had we
so.
not had that, and then we had this, I wouldn't taste it. But
Right.
I think it's too fruity.
like maybe that's what I'm tasting. It's like almost like it's older or caramel character that's not right. Or
Yeah.
something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you're also picking up on the tangerine because
Yeah.
it lends to the acidic taste that.
And
you
I
kinda
think I
didn't-
still coming off that last beer was definitely lingering, and this one is
Yeah.
nowhere near the
Okay,
same.
so as we're drinking these beers, let's talk about brewing them. Because I think
Yeah,
that's
very good idea.
I think ultimately, if we're sitting here just drinking them and not really talking about how they're brewed or how, so I know Greg and you both, Nigel, have brewed Gozes before.
Greg has. I haven't. I've done Berliners with Greg, but
Berliners.
I've not done the Gozes with him.
Okay, okay.
yeah, the Gozes
Uh,
I've done a couple of different ways. I think the best version that we had that was a more or less a Goza without really making it truly fully acidic was the one that was the margarita beer
Okay.
that you
Yeah,
liked.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, I
you
did
remember
like
that
beer.
one.
That was
So-
really good.
And that was just using acid malt to try to keep it tame. You know, I never did
Okay.
any lacto in that.
I really think after tasting that one that you could get away with brewing. The acidity part of this, I think, is the least important part of
I
the
agree.
style.
I agree.
I think you could achieve that through citrus flavor
Yeah, lime.
by itself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, even
Lime is a
small
big deal on that.
Small bit of lactic acid.
I think I would brew this just like I would brew a Weizen, where I would do like a beta glucan / protein rest, and then saccharification rest, and what I would wonder about would be what yeast would you use, because you need a fluffy yeast that stays in suspension, but you're not looking for any of the esters or phenols that you're getting out of a Weizen yeast.
Well, I wonder.
So maybe
if they're
like
not,
USO5 or something like
well,
that.
I wonder if they're not
Germinal.
even
You
German
could,
ale.
You could
Yeah,
probably
Germinal
blend,
yeast.
Because man,
blend a
that
couple of yeast strands. to make
because
it-
that 1007 man, it don't want to come out of suspension. The German ale yeast, by
Right.
yeast, it's man, it's. I mean, like if you use it for, I've used it multiple times.
Which
for
would
like
be
a-
an alt beer yeast, right?
Yeah, I've used it, or you can use it as a Kolsch even. So
Okay.
it's a kind of a utilitarian yeast. It doesn't produce a whole lot of flavor, but man, that thing is impossible to
Right.
flock out. So I wonder too.
Greg's got
Man, I
beer.
wonder if you couldn't. No, I guess you really couldn't use a Weizen yeast, but you would think it almost needs.
Well, you don't want that banana and clove
Yeah,
on
exactly.
the end of it.
Yeah,
But
so it makes
when-
you wonder.
Yeah, when you were talking about the 1007, that's what me and Michael use on our Fupa ale, because we were trying to replicate, the haziness.
Fupa ale.
Yes.
All right.
It was just a random grain bill order from the store that we threw
Okay.
some
Yeah,
Simpsons
been there,
Naked
done that.
Golden Notes, because we were trying to recreate the hazy style IPA without going through all the different stuff that they were doing to it, using flour and stuff like that. Simpsons Naked Golden Notes helped it out a lot.
Did you get some? of this?
And then
Yeah, you got some.
And then we added on the end
Eric might want some.
Eric wants some.
that yeast. And that yeast made it cloudy the whole time. We could not get it to clear
Yeah,
up, and that's
I
what we
mean,
wanted.
Yeah, that's no kidding, man. That 1007 does not want to clear out.
So I would think you'd do 50% wheat, 50% Pilsner. Nice and simple grain bill. I don't think you need any specialty malts in it at all. I would mash probably around 150, 151. For the saccharification rest, I'd do like a protein beta glucan rest at about 113, 114, somewhere around there, and step it up to 150, 151 ish. And then I think the most difficult thing would be to get it how the Leipzig version is. I think the coriander would be the hardest part.
Yeah.
I think maybe you're looking at about 20 IBUs, 18, 20 IBUs to kind of just balance out the sweetness, and the coriander would be the thing that would be you'd have to try a couple times to get the amount right.
Yeah, I think you would have to be really careful with hops.
This is blackberry.
And the thing it would be
First one's
is
raspberry.
you'd have to think about is that if you were going to use lacto, you can't have many IBUs at all.
Jesus, easy.
But it depends on how you want to do your lacto. Because
And the lacto in it is so slight, I wouldn't even hesitate to just add some lactic acid into it. On a homebrew
Easy.
level, just add some lactose.
Yeah.
Dose it afterwards.
yeah, I think that may be why they do the lacto fermentation there, is because it's against the Leipzig Gose to just add lactic acid
Right,
to
right.
it. So,
And actually, the way you described it is probably the worst way you could possibly do it on a homebrew level. And we talked
Oh,
about
yeah,
this
yeah.
during some of the sour beer episodes. That there's lactobacillus on the outside of grain. There's also a whole bunch of other shit too that you
lot.
don't want
Yeah.
in there.
well, I think what they're
It's very
they're looking at-
uncontrollable.
It's the worst way to get lactobacillus into a beer that there is.
I think what they're doing is
Yogurt.
they're only holding it for 18 hours and they're boiling it,
Mm-hmm.
and then
And their
then-
temperature range too is probably
yeah. So I think that they do it in such a short time it doesn't get funky.
But we have the luxury on a homebrew level of doing it however we want. And years ago I did a rye saison that I was really happy with. Brought it in, gave it to you. You said, "You know what I'd do if I was you? I put a little bit of lactic acid in it, and I put 1 drop of lactic acid per 12-ounce bottle, and I won a first place
Yeah,
with it. And it's just enough.
it's just enough to open
It doesn't
it up.
taste sour. It
Yeah.
doesn't taste lactic, but it just puts that little tiny bit of tart edge on it. And that's how much I would say was in what you brought back from Germany.
Yeah,
It was
not a
really
whole lot.
more of just a citrusy kind of tartness, and
Yeah.
really, really light at that. So on a homebrew level, I think the smartest way to do it would be to just add a little bit of lactic acid into
Yeah,
it.
you may be right.
Or you give a short run on your lactic fermentation. That's
But-
like the two that I just passed around. They were pretty much a short run. I know the pH was not a huge change in these. So
Okay, so here's the rub. Okay, me personally, and we've drank some of these, and I know we're getting into some that's even more acidic. Knowing what I know now, I know what I would rather drink. I know what I'd rather taste. But when it comes to competition, you're going to get blown out of the water. Because I really
That's why I
think,
don't brew for competition.
because I really think if you put that beer that we just drank in
It would get
competition-
destroyed.
because they say it's not sour enough. It doesn't have enough
Yep.
salt in it.
What is this style?
Be too cloudy.
Yeah, but that's the hot honest truth.
No, you're 100% right about that.
And that's the thing that drives me bonkers. I guess is when, I guess, even when we what are you looking at the penis?
Well, I looked up at the screen and it's just there and it just catches me off guard.
Oh
you
my
know.
goodness. But no, that's one of the things that
Brandon's gift.
absolutely drives me crazy is that, Americans know better. We're going to brew this Gose because we know what it tastes like and we know what it's supposed to be sour. And I even had somebody one time come in and I'd had these in Germany, not at Leipzig, but we were judging Ozat, and he brought this one in from Oklahoma, and we tasted it, and I was like, holy shit, man. It totally was just all lactic acid.
I
was
remember
like-
that.
And I was like,
Yeah.
dude, this is not what they taste like. And he goes, yeah, it's supposed to be, look at the style guidelines. It's supposed to be just like a Berliner Weiss. And I was like, no, it's not. It's not supposed to be as sour as a Berliner Weiss.
Well,
It actually specifically says that it's not supposed to be like a Berliner Weiss in the new guidelines.
so.
Oh, it does now.
It
didn't
does
before.
now. I don't think it did before, but
No, it
the new
didn't.
ones
No.
do you
definitely
think
say that.
they'll separate those categories, kind of like the original Gose and then the American style Gose?
I sure hope
Yeah.
not.
Because
I sure hope not.
I mean, with
You
all
know-
the new styles that people are doing, well, they're not new. They're just variations of
Yeah.
original old styles.
Yeah,
But then they're going to have to do that on every
Well,
style because the American version of everything is always.
Well, they've already started. The New England IPA has its own
Right.
category.
Yeah,
and
okay, so you got the American IPA, you got the American Stout,
You take away
You got the American
Oktoberfest
Porter.
and do a Marzen.
I mean,
Yeah.
are they going to keep going?
dude. But can you imagine? Okay, I think this style, and I know Cody's killing it over there with Salty Lady, and we're gonna drink that one too. But can you imagine how awesome this would be on a hot summer afternoon drinking something like that?
I'm telling you,
Perfect.
I couldn't
Yeah.
agree with you more on that.
And that's
I
what
mean,
that's what kills it, man. I mean, that's the thing.
It's got to be more refreshing.
And it's not only that, but like when we actually talked about Gose before, we were talking a lot about summer styles and things to add to it. It's like the two I passed around have fruit in them. I had a blackberry and a raspberry, right?
Good.
And it's one of those things where it's like it really, really lends itself to that. But even the Leipzig version,
Mm-hmm.
I think it would do it, but not as much as the American versions because they're more of a flat palate as far as what you're adding something to. Like the Leipzig version is kind of alive on its own. You add something to that, it's going to have to be really tame. Like that's the
Oh,
syrup
yeah, yeah.
edition type
Yeah.
of thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like a little bit is perfect. Probably would change that flavor profile just enough, a drop or two.
Well,
You know.
And I would even say that I'd even go a step further. Even the Berliner Weisses, to be real honest with you, are not as sour as the ones we get here.
Right.
They're just not. They're slightly tart and refreshing and almost champagne-like. Is what I would say. They remind me a lot of champagne. I don't know. They like that
Shop.
kind of sour acidity. you
Salty
know?
Lady's more. It's less
Whew,
less
boy, that's
acidic
salty.
than it was, but it's really salty.
It's very salty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it really?
I mean, it's not as salty as their pretzel beer, but let's face it.
Now,
So
Haven't
this
had
is
it.
a
it
local
sounds like we
brewery.
don't like these beers, but
I like
I
it.
do like these.
I like
There's
the
only
Anderson
one on
Valley.
this table that I don't like.
The one that we haven't drank yet.
I'm leaving in a bit, so it'll be okay.
I mean,
We all ditch. No, I don't want it. I just don't want it.
I think it's a rite of passage. If you do Goses, you have to drink this one.
Well,
Yeah.
I just wish we wouldn't have drank the, the style guideline first.
He's saying the order was out.
It makes
Yeah.
me want to brew one for sure.
Because now I feel
Doesn't
like
it?
everyone
Yeah.
is missing something. Like it doesn't
Well,
have that balance.
That's the thing for me is that when I go and I drink these, there's a reason that these guys are the style is so hot. Is because people came over or probably had them in Germany and go, man, these are badass. And they decided they wanted to reproduce it. And other guys go, oh, yeah, I want a salty, sour ale too. But I think they missed the mark. And it's just like we talk about English beers too. They're so well balanced. So I guess that's the hard thing to hit through Americans brewer skulls. Balance. That's what's so important to these
Well, but
beers.
really, for Americans' definition of balance, these are balanced.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
but I think American brewers are certainly good enough to match what is brewed over there.
Yeah.
I think it's done on purpose. Obviously, the IPAs were done on purpose, but I think it's, hey, let's put our stamp on that style. Let's change it up
I
and
get it. I get it.
let's make it a bit different so it's our stamp.
I don't like the comparison between the IPAs because I think the IPAs took on a life
Its
of their
own
own.
thing, yeah.
Over a long period of time. They grew into just a completely different thing. I think this one, I'd be very curious to find out how many people who brew a Gose have ever tasted what we just tasted.
Yeah, I would.
I bet it's
I
almost
think
none.
It's pretty.
It's
pretty
very close
poor.
to none.
It's pretty poor if they haven't tasted what we've just tasted. I
But-
mean, to be able
Well,
to say,
you have to go there. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, if you're gonna brew with any sort of to gain any sort of respect, you've got to have it somewhere near the mark.
well, you do and
Yeah.
you don't. I mean, at the same time, you can read about this style and think you have some idea, and then you brew it, and then people like it, and so you just keep brewing it. What's wrong with that?
I
Well,
think
It's not accurate, but
well-
it is what it is.
Well, the other thing we're then dealing with is also brewing to. Is it fair to say that BJCP are written based on the originals? So BJCP is written on.
These are the newer guidelines.
Right.
Are much more, but
But the commercial breweries have the freedom to do what they want, right?
But here's the thing: is like if you talk about an English bitter, that's a totally different thing. If you
Yeah.
go to England at all, probably if you stop in the airport at England, you'll get a really
Yes,
good
you will.
classic example of a bitter.
Right.
And so you should know what it tastes like.
Yeah.
If you go to Germany, you better go to this town, or else you're not going to taste this.
Right.
go to some fancy bottle
yeah, you're
shops or
right.
something,
The regionalization makes it more difficult. But what I'm saying, what I'm now saying, or in addition to what I've said previously, is the commercial breweries maybe know or maybe not know what these taste like. But like you say, they've read up on the style, and now they've put their spin on it, and their spin is what people like, and their spin is what sells, and therefore that's what they're going to produce. And it's not necessarily aimed to match the originals.
Right.
well, and you know what I think sucks.
that's
is I
a
think-
good point.
I think this is a fantastic beer, the one I brought back from Leipzig. But the problem with it is now, I think if I was a brewery and I made that beer and I marketed it as a Gose, I'd probably
You-
get crushed.
Yeah, you would get zero traction. I
Yeah.
mean, and that's contributed to a style that has disappeared off the face of the earth, and all of a sudden reappeared.
Well, see,
with
this
much
is
popularity.
one of those things where I think there's a couple of different models in this country that are more well suited for this. So if you have a brew pub, I think it's totally different. Like Sean over at Cowtown could brew this,
Yeah.
and he can stand there and he and his staff can have immediate feedback to the people that are drinking it, and when they say an opinion on something,
They can educate.
you can educate
Yeah.
your drinker about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where a packaging brewery, that's not you put it out there into the world, and either it sells or it doesn't. But you have no interaction with your customer at all, and no way to educate them.
And I'd like to see brew pubs do that with their more obscure styles of beer. have an hour or two, sell seats, sell tickets, whatever. Okay,
It's the beauty of the brew pub.
let's teach the
He's
client,
having
let's
bad
teach the
luck today.
customers about our beer. Let's teach them why they taste like what they're tasting.
Well, it's the beauty of the brew pub too, is that not only do you have the ability to interface with your customer and educate them, but you also brew smaller batches.
Yeah.
And you're not beholden to label approval and all that shit where you send
Right.
it out in the world and hope it sells, and if it doesn't, well, you can just forget about it. You can brew a smaller batch, and if it
I
doesn't
mean,
work
all
at
that's
all,
good about brewing beer. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so
exactly.
pubs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, brew pubs.
That's why it kills me that we don't have the
this
brew
one
pub
you could
model.
probably get. I would say probably most places. in the
Yeah, it's
United States.
national. Yeah.
Yeah, they're out of
Distill,
Colorado or something like
Yeah.
that, aren't they?
Wild sour series. Here goes a nothing. This doesn't taste anything like a real Goza. I'm just saying.
Distributed by Andrew.
If you are like I was 4 or 5 years ago, where I thought I love sour beers, I want to get the sourest damn beer I can possibly
That's
drink.
it, baby.
That's what. When this first came to Texas, I was in that phase of my sour beer love where I'm like, give me the sourest thing I can drink, and I loved this beer.
You probably had an ulcer.
Well, luckily I didn't drink a lot of it, or else I would have given myself an ulcer.
His
probably.
ulcers had ulcers.
I want a sour.
No,
How
so
sour
so
is your
this
sour?
this one makes my eyes water in the back of my
Aye.
cheeks
No,
hurt just by
it's too
smelling
much.
it.
Ooh. Ooh.
Just by smelling it. I mean, it
Oh.
is.
So much acid.
It's
like
so
a
much
Monday.
acid. You know what would have been a fun experiment is
Get a
actually
pH meter.
a pH meter on all these and kind of see what I would have.
Oh, you
that
know,
would've
this is
I
actually
could,
less acidic
test
than it used to
the-
be.
Yeah,
I could
it
test
is.
the acidity
is
on
less.
these.
Yeah.
been- it is less acidic than
I
it
mean,
used
it
to
was
be.
bracing, hurt your teeth. Acid.
It was still pretty freaking sour.
Yeah, it's still real sour, but it's not as sour as it used to be.
Yeah,
And
maybe they backed off
for
on
those of you not watching who didn't get to see the can. This is Distill. It's what is it? DESTHIL.
TIHL. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Still.
it. But I wanted another bottle of this Leipzig. Oh, wait.
Oh, look at that! It's sitting there all.
Man, you know what? That would have
All
been cool.
alone.
That would have
Hey,
been.
Brandon,
that
can
would've
you
been
pass me
really-
Stubby's ESB? That's what I want.
No, really though. That would have been a great experiment. I wish we'd had a pH meter.
I could have brought mine too.
We'd have
Yeah.
tested the
Come
pH.
on, guys.
No, the pH
Rookie
meter.
move,
right? Yeah, I know,
I
rookie
would
move.
like to have seen what the pH was on the stuff from Leipzig.
Yeah, I
You
bet
can
it's
go
not
over
that low.
Go
Yeah, I
over
bet
to
it is,
Stubby's Texas
I mean,
homebrew and get
just
some
from-
strips, right?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
from taste, I'm thinking it's like a point 3.
Yeah.
0.3.
Yeah.
And that's what
That's
the
battery
distill
acid,
is.
You're
right?
talking
Yeah,
about, you're
It's
talking
beer,
about,
and it's also what they pour on railroad ties
talking
to
about
melt
pH,
them in
you're
half.
Talking about acidity numbers.
0.3.
Acidity numbers, not pH.
Well, guys, I think that's
Titratable
I think what
Titratables.
the biggest thing that
Paracetic acid.
it might as well be paracetic acid.
Parasan.
But I think ultimately what we're trying to get you to understand when we bring these beers back, it's a lot of fun for us because we actually get to taste them. But ultimately, we really want to convey to you what we think, how the styles really taste, and maybe give you some insight in how to brew these styles a little better. Or because I think honestly, at the end of the day. This is no knock on any of these beers, but there's none of them I could drink a 6-pack of, but I could damn sure drink a 6-pack of that stuff I brought back from Germany. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, no, I've drank a 6-pack of more than one of these beers on the table before in the pool, but without a doubt, not even close to as drinkable. I mean, it's not even close.
Same ballpark.
Yeah.
It's
It-
almost like they teeter the line of Shanny versus Goses.
It's really like a blend between a Weizen and a wheat beer.
Yeah.
Really.
the Wit beer.
With a little more tartness.
A little bit more tartness, yeah.
And
So
saltiness, it's-
I'll tell you
because
this,
to
this
me
is-
the
this is
aroma
next
smells like the aroma does smell like a wheat beer.
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
does all that coriander. This is next on my list to brew. This is what I'm going to brew next after tasting that.
So how are you going to do it? Are you going to add just lactic acid to it?
Is it a goes off?
I'm gonna wait till it's done and in the keg, and I'm gonna taste it. And if I don't think that the coriander and the citrus from the coriander has given it enough, I'm gonna add a little bit of lactic acid to it.
Well, and here's I think is what's important about that is because I think people are approaching this wrong.
They're going acid first.
Well, and they're not only doing that, even I was telling you about the way they're doing it there in Leipzig. They're getting their lactic acid separate. They're not.
And they're blending it in. Yeah.
And they're blending it in.
Mm-hmm.
They're not kettle souring it.
Right.
The whole beer and then boiling it and then they're not doing it that way.
You should never go acid first. You ever take off your pants, run backwards through a cornfield? No.
Have you?
So
Do not recall.
So when you brew it, what are you trying to recreate? Are you trying to recreate the original?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I want to recreate. And to me,
that's inspiring.
Whatever, it is inspiring. That's exactly right. And to me, whatever tartness or acidity is in it is the absolute least important part of the style.
Mm-hmm.
I
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah, it's the balance of the salt
So-
and coriander.
So there's one
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one left. Yeah,
So save that for when he brews his beer.
yeah that'll be fun.
Or open it right now. I mean,
No.
whichever one you want.
No.
we got everything still on the table.
Show
We're
restraint.
gonna bring a pH meter and try it against his.
There you go.
There you go.
Show
Yeah,
restraint.
yeah.
That would be awesome. So, anyway, I think. Do we have anything else that we're going to discuss tonight?
I think that's it, unless we want to drink my
We could talk
double
about-
IPA over here.
We could talk about Greg. He's not here right now.
I need
That son of a bitch.
Boom, 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 boom.
Tums.
ROLAIDS. That's how we spell relief.
Or TUMS. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what are we selling?
I'm going to have some right now.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea after all these super acidic.
Even
Goses.
before I get heartburn, I'm going to hit up
And
some
pizza.
Yeah, and pizza
And pizza, yeah.
and kombucha.
And
Kombucha.
But the kombucha's probably helping us.
Yeah, I'm probably.
Well,
I
help
have.
you-
It's making
help you
your
tomorrow.
stomach settle.
I'll tell you, I feel like I'm going to be sitting up in my lazy boy with a fire hose full of acid shooting up into my mouth later tonight.
I have done that before.
That's a word picture.
It's the
Yeah,
worst.
really.
So awful.
I had a trip to Collective and then did
That'll
another
do it.
round.
Petite
Went to
golden
Mar-
sour.
Oh, yes,
Greg's
sir.
back. Shush.
Petite golden sour and everything else running the gamut because you know they got to make 6 variations.
That
of
was the
same
worst.
beer.
That may have been the worst night of my life. We did that first sour episode.
Ooh.
Man, we ate pepperoni pizzas, and I think we had 12 or 14.
Oh, it was a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Big
the
bottles of
heartburn
acid.
that'll make you sweat.
It was enough that we all got absolutely hammered off of sour beer, which is sour beer is not very high alcohol.
We were definitely hammered
Yeah, that was bad shape.
and miserable.
Well,
the
y'all
next
were. I
day.
mean, I was pretty good, but
All right, so do we do a drawing for the patron this week?
do a drawing, Greg.
Oh, we did we?
And
Didn't
here
do a
it
drawing. We did the
is.
key phrase.
Oh, we did.
No,
the
we
key
gave him a
phrase.
misspelled
And I've
word.
got a
What was that key phrase again?
the old
That's what I
bag
forgot.
here.
It was Boochmaster C, right?
Bushmaster C.
Has a nice ring to it. Thank you.
Boochmaster C is in the hizzy. Did I ruin it? I ruined it, huh?
Said it
Yeah,
all.
I
The-
ruined it. Yeah.
The ring is
You're
gonna
trying
be,
to find a polite way to be absolutely
I
disgusted
know.
with what I just said. Yeah.
I know. How could I say, yeah, good try without
Yeah, right.
offending everybody?
yeah, the ring is gonna be oval.
I promise all the dads in the room, y'all are okay.
Well, that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
dude. That was hip in the hip hop in 1980.
Hip hop hibbity.
Steady on you, old.
That's
wine
cool. I
man.
wasn't born yet, so
The hip.
What do we
hip-
want to give
the
away
hip-
for the monthly?
Brandon. I want to give
I don't
Brandon
know.
away.
We got
He's
some,
free.
I am.
We got
I'm
some. We got some.
really, really slutty.
Don't we still have some Come and Brew It T-shirts?
I think
You wanna
so.
give- you want to give some? Maybe we can give a Come and Brew It T-shirt and a $10 gift certificate. How about that?
Both of
All
them.
right.
Combo.
To the
Both
website.
combos.
he
All right.
is generous.
All right. So
Generous.
hopefully my listing here is still correct because I can't find the other bag that we had the last time that we did this. But I have John DiTallo.
John
Hey,
DiTallo.
John, well
Good.
done.
So
Johnny D.
we'll find out.
He's in the hizzy. No, he's not.
Nigel, we covered this. All right.
Sorry, I got excited.
Again,
I got
I'm
it.
just
I
it's
got
just
excited.
open range right now. What a great welcome back.
Well, thanks Cedric for coming out tonight. I thought it was a lot of fun with the whole kombucha stuff.
I did until about 5 minutes ago. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
it went down.
you know.
It went downhill. You know.
With the hazy and stuff. It was great. Glad to be back on with y'all guys. As
Right on,
always,
man.
you can find me every other weekend at the shop.
There
on
you
the
go.
weekend.
Every
Oh,
other
yeah.
weekend. That'd be nice.
I'm usually with Nigel all the time, so
Doing
that's why I don't go as often.
Booching it up.
Aw.
No, doing my heavy lifting.
Yeah, right. So if you ever want to talk booch with me,
So he goes to the restroom with you?
yeah,
I said heavy lifting. Not letting gravity take its course.
I'm gonna regulate you. Don't worry.
Oh,
This has lost his way. No. Get it together. Get it together.
What do we have coming up, Greg?
Yeah, Greg.
Tell us
Yeah.
about it.
Future episodes. Stay
All of my
tuned
stuff is
for
wet.
new shows and be sure to send in beers for discussion. We'll have a document for your download for beer details available soon for all those things as far as Brandon's new show goes. We'll also have a series of experiments in the works, and it sounds like we need to nail down a recipe for London Pride before it's gone forever.
I agree.
I'm more concerned with Adnam's broadside.
I'm gonna say.
Well, yeah, we got a few things
yeah.
that Nigel
We can
and I
always
have been
find.
talking about,
We can always
so.
find pride recipes.
But
I'm gonna find.
We've got a lot of experiments that we need to work on.
Yeah.
And right now, I think all of us are at the
Yes.
stage that we might be able to start doing that. And then
Except
there's
I'm
the
brewing
big
a Gose
brews
next.
And, you know.
Greg, one of the things Nigel talked about doing, we were talking, we'll get with you on this, but we want to really do a bunch of smash beers.
Well,
Yeah, he
with-
mentioned
with-
it.
with
yeah,
all-
we might be
base
changing that
malts.
up a little bit, especially
Okay.
Punctuation.
especially
intended.
based on your ESB. If it is the crystal popping through the paler
Yeah.
malt, so we might include some crystal on that. So
Okay. Yeah, that might be
so it
interesting.
may not be a smash beer after all.
Okay. Sounds good.
And be a
Anyway.
smash in.
A lot of variety.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. But just remember, the show doesn't happen without you guys as being patrons. Just keep on remembering we don't have any.
Do you notice there were no
sponsors.
commercials?
No commercials.
No commercials.
So the only reason we do that is because we want to be fair and honest and give you an honest opinion and reviews, and not be other people's bitches. But anyway.
We just have your face melting at in the interval. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah. So anyway, thank you guys for joining Come and Brew It Radio. And until next time, come and brew it.
Come and brew it.